Order, honorable senators. I'm informed we do have quorum now. Clerk, you may proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Senator Mundigi, take your seat, please. Now, honorable senators, as you're aware, the Senate has established a tradition of holding a retreat at the beginning of each session to review its performance in the preceding session and to plan for the forthcoming session. Consistent with this tradition, the Senate has organized an assessment and planning retreat for the 5th session 2026 under the theme Advancing the Senate's Agenda, Review, Strategy, and Sustainable Progress. The event will provide a platform for reflection on the Senate's performance in the 4th session and for strategic planning to ensure focused and impactful delivery in the penultimate session of the 13th Parliament. The areas of discussion will include, inter alia, devolution and intergovernmental relations, key issues and priority areas for the Senate's intervention, implementation of the universal health coverage, successes, challenges, and interventions, agriculture and food security, successes, challenges, and legislative intervention, implementation of climate action in counties, overview of the financing locally led climate action FLOCA, the state of education in Kenya, management of education policy and standards, the draft referendum bill, a context and alignment with the constitutional amendment process, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill number 2, Bill, Senate Bills number 16 of 2025, actualizing the 2/3 gender principle, and lastly, members' welfare. Now, honorable senators, I take this opportunity to invite you to the event, which is scheduled to take place from Thursday, 26th of February to Sunday, 1st of March 2026, at the Sawela Lodges, Naivasha, Nakuru County. Further details pertaining to the event, including travel and logistical arrangements, will be communicated through the office of the clerk. I urge all senators to purpose to attend and participate actively in this important event. I thank you. I have a further communication to make, honorable senators. You will further recall that at the sitting of the Senate held on Tuesday, 10th of February 2026, I issued a communication regarding the installation of the new multimedia digital Congress system to manage the various aspects of the Senate proceedings in plenary. The installation of the new system was necessitated by the persistent challenges with the previous outdated raila Congress system, which are particularly evident during voting. Now, honorable senators, over the past 2 weeks, you have had an opportunity to interact with the new system and may have noticed that not all functionalities of the system have been rolled out. This is because the installation process is not yet complete. The contractors are still on site to finalize the process and to undertake the necessary systems configurations. In addition, they have been monitoring the system's operation during the pilot phase to identify and promptly address any emerging challenges. Honorable senators, once fully configured and commissioned, the Tide and Conference Management System will integrate all the essential functionalities of a Congress management system and will offer the following features. 1, dual microphone requesting mode to cater for interventions, biometric authentication for sign-in and attendance taking, which is more secure and convenient, 14-inch high-definition touchscreen, offering a clear reading experience for the documents and high-definition video viewing, dynamic voting management module to manage the voting aspect of Senate proceedings, digital file management allowing distribution and access to documents, including the order paper, bills, reports, and statements. video on demand, VOD, allowing delegates to review video content on the delegate units, and which will particularly be useful during impeachments, where a senator may wish to independently control the playback of video evidence. Service request engine, allowing delegates to request for specific support. Auto-tracking camera capabilities, allowing for real-time, accurate, and efficient tracking without manual operation. And lastly, request and speaking list access by all delegate units, which allows such senator to monitor their own speaking time, countdown, and also see the list of other senators interested in speaking to a matter. Now, honorable senators, even as the installation is being finalized, the basic functionalities have already been activated. These include the request and speaking list access, digital live management, and digital file management, and the voting management module, which we are yet to utilize. The request and speaking lists can be accessed through the mic icon on the touchscreen interface, where relevant documents relating to a sitting can be accessed through the paperless icon. Honorable senators, for the avoidance of doubt, the request list displayed in the delegate unit is a pool from which the speaker picks a senator to speak from among those who have shown interest. The list is not a queue to speak. The speaker has, as has been the case, and pursuant to Standing Order No. 4, retains the powers to allow a senator to contribute to a matter before the Senate. Should any senator encounter any challenges operating the system, the clerks at the table and the sergeant-at-arms are available to assist. I thank you. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
That's where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, honorable senators, pursuant to Standing Order 45, allow me to rearrange today's order paper. We will start with order number 8 all the way to order number 12, and thereafter we will resume the normal flow as contained in the order paper. Clerk, kindly proceed to call order number 8.
Order number 8, motion, consideration of the National Assembly amendments to the Election Offences Amendment number 2 Bill, Senate Bills number 28 of 2024, question to be put.
Clerk, do you have quorum? Senator Olekina, kindly take your seat. Honorable senators, I will now put the question that the National Assembly amendments to the Election Offences Amendment number 2 Bill, Senate Bills number 28 of 2024, be now considered. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion, report of the Standing Committee on Health on the county oversight and networking engagements to Mandera, Wajir, and Marsabit counties, question to be put.
Clerk, do you have quorum? Senator for Kilifi, take your seat, please. Honorable senators, I now put the question that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Health regarding the county oversight and networking engagements to Mandera, Wajir, and Marsabit counties laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 2nd of October 2025. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, motion, report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the 2026 Budget Policy Statement.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand before you and before the House on behalf of our Chair, Senator, who is unwell and has a problem with his voice. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the 2026 Budget Policy Statement laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday 24th of February 2026 and pursuant to Section 25, Subsection 7 of the Public Finance Management Act, PFM, and Cap 412A, Standing Order 186H, approves the 2026 Budget Policy Statement. Mr. Speaker, sir, Section 25, Subsection 2 of the Public Finance Management Act provides that the National Treasury shall submit to Parliament the Budget Policy Statement, BPS, on or before the 15th of February of each year. Pursuant to this provision, the National Treasury and Economic Planning submitted the 2026 Budget Policy Statement to Parliament on 11th of February 2026. Subsequently, the 2026 BPS was tabled in the Senate at its plenary sitting held on 12th of February 2026. Thereafter, pursuant to Standing Order 186.4 of the Senate Standing Orders, the BPS was committed to each standing committee for consideration and subsequent submission recommendations. Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 186, subsection 6, the Senate standing committees, the committee held consultative meetings with various stakeholders. The committee received memorandum and written and oral submissions on the BPS from about 18 stakeholders, and I don't need to mention their names. The theme of this year's budget policy statement is accelerating gains under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda for inclusive and sustainable growth. The BPS envisions the global economic growth to perform at 3.3% in 2026, with projections of 3.2% for 2027. Emerging markets and developing economies, economic growth is projected to slow at 4.2% in 2026 from 4.4% in 2025, supported by continued policy stimulus, increased bank lending, and lower effective US tariffs. Mr. Speaker, sir, by the end of December 2025, total revenue collected, including appropriation in aid, AIA, amounted to Kenya shillings 1.525 billion against a target of 1.636 billion. The revenue collection was below target by 111 billion, largely from ordinary revenue. The underperformance is attributed to slower than projected tax receipts, largely due to compliance gaps, administration challenges, and the impact of revenue reducing measures in the Finance Bill 2025. Mr. Speaker, the projected expenditure and net lending for financial year 2026-2027 is at Kenya shillings 4.735 billion. This comprises of 2.02 billion in ministerial recurring expenditure and Kenya shillings 846 billion in ministerial development expenditure. Additionally, interest payments on public debt are estimated at Kenya shillings 1.23 billion. The fiscal deficit in grants projected at 1.14 billion in financial year 2026-2027. This will be financed through the Kenya shillings 225.5 billion borrowed from foreign sources and Kenya shillings 924 billion from domestic sources. Mr. Speaker, sir, the total shareable revenue for the financial year 2026-27 is estimated at Kenya shillings 2.9 billion, of which 2.472 billion is due to be allocated to the national government and for Kenya shilling 420 billion for county governments. The share of revenue is projected to increase by Kenya shillings 147.2 billion, 5.3% increase from the approved revenue of 2.754 billion for the year 2025-2026. The proposed county equitable share will be shared among the counties using the fourth basis for revenue sharing approved by the Parliament in June 2025, according to the provisions of Article 217 of the Constitution. The BPS proposes allocating 9.6 billion to the Equalization Fund in the financial year 2026-2027. This amount is equivalent to 0.5% of the most recent audited and approved revenues of Kenya shillings 1.92 billion for the financial year 2021-2022, pursuant to the provisions of Article 2041 of the Constitution. Further, the BPS proposes additional 5.6 billion as partial payment for the Equalization Fund arrears, making the total allocation to Kenya shillings 15.2 billion for the financial year 2026-2027. Mr. Speaker, the BPS identifies debt servicing costs and revenue underperformance as the primary reasons for allocating 420 billion to counties. Public debt-related expenditures are expected to hit Kenya shillings 1.542 billion for the financial year 2026-27, accounting for 53.1% of the projected shareable revenue. Mr. Speaker, the BPS proposed to allocate Kenya shillings 75.69 billion as additional allocations to county government for the financial year 25-26, pursuant to Article 202, subsection 2, and Article 191 of the Constitution. These proposed additional allocations are categorized as follows: unconditional additional allocations, statutory amounting to Kenya shillings 1.198 billion, conditional additional allocations of Kenya shillings 16.3 billion from national government share of revenue, and Kenya shillings 57.4 billion in loans and grants from development partners. Mr. Speaker, I will not look at the observations. I'll just go straight to recommendations in order to save time. Having considered the BPS and the stakeholder submissions, the committee recommends that, among others, that the national government's equitable share for the financial year 2026-27 be Kenya shillings 2,3,437,529,429,840 shillings. The county equitable share for the financial year 2026-2027 is Kenya shillings 454,743,157,897 shillings. This comprises of the baseline of 415 billion and 5% inflation upward adjustment, then inclusion of Kenya shillings 8.9 billion for transition of UHC workers to permanent and pensionable, and Kenya shillings 20 billion and 20.75 billion for implementation of SRC third and fourth review cycle and remuneration for county staff. The Equalization Fund be allocated Kenya shillings 15.163 billion, and the additional allocations to counties be Kenya shillings 66 billion 755,175,182. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate all stakeholders who appeared before the committee and submitted memorandum on the 2026 BPS. I also appreciate the members of the Committee on Finance and Budget for their commitment and dedication to completing the task. I also want to thank the Office of the Speaker and the Office of the Clerk for facilitating the committee in executing its mandate. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move and request the Majority Leader to second. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Faki. Mr. Speaker, I'll be very brief in light of the fact of earlier discussions that we had at the Senate Business Committee on how we transact business this afternoon, given, Mr. Speaker, that we have very serious legislative work this session, and I appreciate that it's not an easy time. This morning, Mr. Speaker, we had the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury. He was before this House, and in my final submissions to him, I made a presentation on behalf of the House that the National Treasury must, by obligation of law, respond to the recommendations of the budget policy statement from the Senate and not just consider those from the Assembly alone. over the years, this has been the practice. We don't get any feedback on our recommendations, despite the fact that every sectoral departmental committee actually of the Senate gives their views on this very topic. He promised that in furtherance of the good work that he has been doing, he will ensure that that is done. I was only concerned a bit later when he called me minutes after 1 o'clock when he left here and informed me that for last year, part of the reason, because I asked why is it that the National Treasury continues to ignore year on year our recommendations to the BPS, and he informed me that last year we actually filed out of time. Of course, everybody appreciates and you know the challenges that we had. Of course, I was quick to remind him that that is just a single exception. All the other years we've always complied, and even today, should colleagues agree with us and we conclude on this business in good time, I believe by end of business today, all our recommendations will be at the National Treasury. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the Committee on Budget and Finance for their industry. I hope, Mr. Speaker, that as colleagues, we can quickly conclude on this particular matter together with that of the medium-term debt management strategy, because these are key financial instruments that as a House, Mr. Speaker, we must always make sure that our voice is heard on that particular topic. Mr. Speaker, finally, because I mentioned that I'll be extremely brief, we consulted as a leadership yesterday at SPC and requested that colleagues, you bear with us for this afternoon so that we dedicate as much time as possible into progressing many businesses that are stuck either at division stage as committees or committee of the whole. And that's why we have started business the way we have done. And we thank you, Mr. Speaker, most sincerely for bearing with us and agreeing to the proposal. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to request colleagues that we put in some good work this afternoon. There's a lot of business. If you check your order paper from 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and should people have the stamina, we have also business that is at the committee of the whole and the various chairpersons of those committees, Mr. Speaker, including sponsors of the bills. You know, sometimes I'm shocked, Speaker, that you have sponsors of bills who the bill gets stuck at committee of the whole because we simply cannot get the sponsor to come and speak to the amendments that are being proposed on that particular bill. Therefore, I really want to plead with colleagues this afternoon that we be at our sharpest. We have decided to dedicate and try and pull the House together so that we conclude on all this business. I want to really beg of your indulgence, colleagues, so that we transact this business and move with as much speed as we can. And therefore, it's in that regard, Mr. Speaker, that I have also made my comments to be extremely brief, despite the fact that I've even spoken to issues that over and above the BPS statement as well, and hoping that we can move with the same speed on considering the rest of the business that is before us this afternoon. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to second this particular motion. I thank you.
Senator Joyce Korir. Senator Korir, take your seat, please. Now, honorable senators, I will now propose the question that the Senate adopt the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the 2026 budget policy statement laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 24th of February 2026, and pursuant to Section 25(7) of the Public Finance Management Act and Standing Order 186(8), the Senate approves the 2026 budget policy statement. Now, the floor is open for debate, but going by the sentiments from the majority leader, if you look at your order paper for the day, it's pretty heavy. We have to go through divisions, and thereafter we go to the committee of the whole. I can see we have 3 honorable senators wishing to contribute. Now, if we spend lots of time on this particular order, get to know we may overrun the runway in terms of time to handle the, can the majority leader and the minority side, I give you 1 minute to consult. In the meantime, I'm going to give the opportunity to Manzo, Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will be very brief. Mr. Speaker, I would like to state that the policy statement is very important for both houses, and over the years, budgeting looked like an affair of the National Assembly. And the fact that we end up doing appropriation also for the counties, Mr. Speaker, I think it's better this time round and in future that our policy statement also be considered and the ideas in. Mr. Speaker, I do support and I thank you.
Senator Manzo, you've concluded. Now, having consulted the leadership of the House, we've agreed that we'll take 2 senators across the aisle. Now that Senator Manzo has already set the pace, we now move to Senator Boni Halwale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this motion. And I can't help noting the fact that we've come a long way. I remember when I came in this parliament in the year 2002, Mr. Speaker, the total revenue collection by KRA was 201 billion shillings only. Last year, it had risen to 2.571 trillion. Mr. Speaker, with this level of growth, it must concern the parliaments of Kenya that we must see more development, Mr. Speaker. The development we are seeing from the counties leaves a lot to beg. The development that we see from the national government, much more is expected of it. I have seen, Mr. Speaker, that in the beginning of this year, a number of contractors have started coming back on the roads. This is something which is laudable. We would like contractors to be paid out of this 2.571 trillion shillings so that our country can change. Mr. Speaker, in 1981, the level of poverty in China was 80%. But today, there is zero poverty in China. How? They have managed their resources. We must urge the executive and county governors to manage resources. My second and last point, I want to congratulate the Committee of Health. When I read through your report as Committee of Health, you spoke to the real issue. Many people in this country, when we speak to the issue of SHA, they think we are against SHA. The quick reaction from the minister especially is to tell you, no, SHA is fantastic because 29 million Kenyans have registered. Fine. And he says it compares favorably with the 8 million who had registered in NHIF. But unfortunately, the Committee of Health was able to demonstrate that despite 29 million Kenyans registering into SHA, it is only 4 million who are actively contributing. It therefore means, purely on figures, that SHA is only 50% as effective as NHIF. Because NHIF, 8 million were contributing. In SHA, 29 million registered fine, but only 4 million registering. So what is the solution? The solution is the National Assembly and the Senate, we must push so that there is exchequer support to SHA. We cannot reverse the share because it is the route to universal health care. But without support from the exchequer, it will never succeed. It cannot rely on those little contributions by members who are subscribers. This budget policy statement, let our recommendation be that the exchequer must release money to share. Finally, the issue of Committee of Health again. You are raising the number of community health promoters from 107,000 to 120,000 people. But you are not following it with the resources. So when we shall tell governors, employ more community health promoters, and then they are unable to pay, that is how you make the government to look bad, that the government is failing. We must, as government, as parliament, be able to push to point out these things so that the necessary money is included in the budget. I support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Senator for Nairobi County, Senator Edwin Sifuna.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Every time this document comes before this House, my attention as a senator is always drawn to what has been provided for in terms of the shareable revenue for county governments, Honorable Speaker. The committee observations are telling us here that they have noted that the county equitable share, the increase that is proposed in the budget policy statement is only 5 billion Kenya shillings. If I understand that correctly, Honorable Speaker, it means they are proposing to give us 420 billion Kenya shillings. Now, I am sure, Mr. Speaker, you know where I'm going with this. Because in under two weeks, on the 7th of March 2026, we are expecting a final report on the implementation of the MOU between Raila Odinga and His Excellency the President, William Ruto. You will recall that I am the drafter, author, and underwriter of that agreement, Honorable Speaker. It is quite disheartening that even weeks to the expiry of that agreement, we are being told that the 450 billion shillings that was promised to Baba Raila Odinga is not going to be met as a promise. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I want to encourage the committee. I can see that in their recommendations.
What is your point of order? What is so disorderly about Senator Sifuna?
Standing order number 105. The Senator of Nairobi is referring to a document called MOU. That document has never been tabled in this House. Is he in order to refer serious agenda like budget policy statement on some dog-eared document called MOU between UDA and ODM, where this parliament was never informed of, Senator of Nairobi?
Senator Sifuna, proceed with your thoughts.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for continuing to protect me from old men. I've been under siege. But the point that I am making is this. Honorable Speaker, we agreed that the government that is led by UDA would at least show this goodwill by providing for 450 billion Kenya shillings in terms of shareable revenues for our counties. I am happy that I can see that in the committee recommendations, Senator Faki, you have recommended that the equitable share for financial year 2026-2027 be Kenya shillings 454. That recommendation by the committee of this House would be in accordance with that agreement that I have referenced, Honorable Speaker, and it is a public document. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, the committee has also pointed out that we need to limit the recurrent expenditure that the counties are, incurring, and try and push more money to development. Speaker, we were convinced by our colleagues from the so-called smaller counties here to introduce an affirmative action tool for them to be able to receive some substantial amount in terms of shareable revenue. I remember these senator colleagues tried to persuade us by saying that they would ring fence that money for development, Honorable Speaker. I have only heard from one governor, I think it was the governor of Laikipia, who told us that it was Nyandarua. Please don't take credit for Nyandarua, Honorable Speaker. Yes, who appeared before the Senate Public Accounts Committee and told us that in the next audit cycle, we will see as a house that the money that we added onto the county of Nyandarua, I think it was about 300 million shillings, he will be able to demonstrate which projects it went to. Honorable Speaker, we need to do more. Even my arguments against the much publicized cooperation agreement is that this house has been able to channel money that can be ring-fenced to specific purposes, including kites and construction of county headquarters, so that it was not necessary to enter into that misadventure. That this house can actually recognize the special needs of Nairobi, for instance, when it comes to street lighting, and give us money specifically through the additional allocation so that we can be able to take care of our recurrent expenditure, or the special need for streetlights in Nairobi. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, I can see the committee has also addressed the question of non-remittance of pensions that now stands at over 115 billion Kenya shillings, Honorable Speaker. How I wish that when we pass these monies, you know, there was a motion that was sponsored by the Senator for Narok that required that these county governments clear their obligations within a certain period of time. We would want to see the level of implementation of that motion, because even up to today, Honorable Speaker, I continue to receive delegations from pensioners from Nairobi Water, Nairobi City County, saying that they are unable to access their pension and the county government of Nairobi is unable to meet its obligations. We hold the highest pending bill when it comes to pension funds, Honorable Speaker. And I can see that the committee has recommended some measures for us to be able to address this issue. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I support the report.
Senator Mandago.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to address about 3 things that have been mentioned in the budget policy statement. Honorable Speaker, from the Committee of Health, we have noted in the budget policy statement there is an increase of community health workers to the tune of 12,000 additional new community health promoters, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in that budget policy statement, there was no accompanying resources for payments of the new community health promoters. And 2, Honorable Speaker, resources must also be provided. As we onboard new community health promoters, Honorable Speaker, there is need to resource them with the kids for them to be able to work. The county governments, Honorable Speaker, have failed in the payments of stipends for the community health promoters on time. Some counties have gone as delaying as far as 7 months, 8 months, Honorable Speaker, without paying the stipends. Honorable Speaker, we want to ask the Minister of Health and National Treasury to consider a payroll payment so that when the other workers are receiving their monthly pay, the community health promoters, Honorable Speaker, should be receiving their monthly stipend, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, KEMSA, being the most critical logistical institution in terms of supply of drugs, non-pharmaceuticals and small medical equipment, Honorable Speaker, is owed a total of 6 billion Kenya shillings. Honorable Speaker, that debt is not only resident in counties, but also in national government institutions, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the national government owes KEMSA to a tune of 3.5 billion. Counties, Honorable Speaker, owe KEMSA in excess of 4 billion. Honorable Speaker, in the budget policy statement, a mechanism should be established where SHA reimburses both national government facilities and county government facilities, Honorable Speaker, net of their dues to KEMSA. Honorable Speaker, this will ensure that our facilities have drugs that are being supplied on time by KEMSA. This will ensure that the fill rate for KEMSA, Honorable Speaker, will move from around 65, 70 to 90 to 95%, Honorable Speaker, therefore availing the necessary drugs and commodities to the facilities, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, SHA must also address the issues of reimbursements to facilities, particularly giving priority to public facilities, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, finally, I want to say that the budget policy statement did not provide for funds for the operationalization of the emergency and critical care funds that is meant to address the most difficult and expensive diseases that are being managed in this country, like cancer, Honorable Speaker. and emergency services, Honorable Speaker. We therefore expect that the National Treasury will consider the establishment, resourcing that fund, so that the four funds and the full implementation of SHA can now be realized in this coming financial year, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I submit.
I now call upon the mover to reply. Senator Faki.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank Senator Cheriot for seconding the motion and all of those who contributed to the motion. Mr. Speaker, I beg to reply, and I beg that under Standing Order 66(3), the putting of the question be deferred to a later time at this afternoon.
It is so deferred. Next order, Clerk.
Order number 11, motion, report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the 2026 Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy.
Chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I stand before the House on behalf of Senator Roba, who is the chair of the Finance, who is unwell. Mr. Speaker, so I beg to move that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Finance Budget on the 2026 Medium-Term Debt Management Policy, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 24th of February, 2026. Mr. Speaker, the Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy provides a framework for informed decision-making on public borrowing and debt management. It guides the national government in structuring the public debt portfolio to minimize costs and risks while ensuring sustainability and supporting the development of the domestic debt market. The 2026 MTDS has been prepared and submitted to pursuant to Section 33 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412, which mandates the Cabinet Secretary responsible for finance to submit to Parliament a statement outlining the national government debt management strategy. Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to Section 33 of the Act, it encompasses the following key elements: the stock of public debt as at the date of tabling of the statement, the sources of loans acquired by the national government, and the nature of guarantees issued by the national government. Number 3 is principal risk associated with these loans and guarantees. Number 4, assumptions underpinning the debt management strategy. And number 5, an analysis of the sustainability of both the actual and potential public debt. The resolution of the House on the report on the medium-term debt management strategy serves as the foundation for determining the appropriate limits on proposed domestic and external borrowing. Additionally, it informs the approval of the budget policy statement, which you have spoken to earlier. Mr. Speaker, I don't wish to go into the major details of the report. I just want to go through the the recommendations. Number 1, that the fiscal deficit target for the medium term be approved at 5.3% of the GDP for the financial year 2026-2027. That is 3.6 of the GDP for the financial year 2027 and 2028, and 3.3 of the GDP for the financial year 2028 and 2029, in line with the fiscal consolidation path. And number 2, that the borrowing strategy be approved at 22% for net external borrowing and 78% for the domestic borrowing as contained in the 2026 medium-term debt management strategy. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I appreciate all stakeholders who appeared before the committee and submitted memoranda on the 2026 medium-term debt management strategy. I also appreciate the members of the Committee on Finance and Budget for their commitment and dedication to completing the task. I also wish to thank the Office of the Speaker and the Office of the Clerk for facilitating the committee in executing its mandate. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move and ask Senator Cheriot, the Majority Leader, to second this motion. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I'll also be brief on this matter. This is an extremely important paper that the Senate has had an opportunity to put its voice to. Our debt management strategy continues to be exercise that any administration for the next maybe foreseeable future will have to grapple with. And as Parliament, we must continue to speak on these issues. So, Speaker, I have never forgotten how last Parliament when we had the debate on the debt ceiling, certain unpleasant things were said. In fact, to the best of my recollection, the most unpleasant things that have ever been said to me on the floor of Parliament was actually on that particular day, because I held the view that it was not possible to keep the country on the debt trajectory that we were taking at that particular time. I know that we have since shifted our debt measurement metrics by moving it from measuring it by a ceiling to now as a percentage of the GDP. And even the anchor that we put here, because in 2023 we passed a law that we need to put it at 55% by 2028, which is barely 2 years away. And if I hear what Senator Faki is saying, we're still at 68%. I don't know what miracle we will perform to get it to 55% by 2028, Mr. Speaker, but I'm proud that as a House we have continued to make it clear of where we stand on this particular issue of debt, Mr. Speaker, because it's not just about us, but also about future generations. Therefore, I want to urge colleagues that we must remain and continue to be vigilant the way this committee has been and share our concerns and thoughts. With those main remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to second.
Honorable Senators, I will now propose the question that the Senator Shakila kindly be orderly. That the Senate adopt the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the 2026 Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 24th of February 2026, and approve the 2026 Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy. Senator Omtata.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you for the opportunity to address this House on the budget policy statement. Pardon? Yeah, the debt management strategy. It is also linked to the budget statement, because if you look at Section 49 of the Public Finance Management Act, it makes the budget policy statement an open check, which the Cabinet Secretary can and has periodically abused to sidestep Parliament and incur loans that we don't know their destination is. So when we make these budget policy statements that are far in excess of what the Kenya Revenue Authorities are able to raise, we must realize that we are handing the executive a blank check with which they are going to raise odious debt that's going to burden us. So I would have expected that in passing this budget policy statement, we should have looked at the capacity of the KRA to raise taxes to finance these figures that we have. Ideally, it lays out a broad framework within which the government should make its budget, but that Section 49 of the Public Finance Management Act turns this budget policy statement into a law. Yet, the budget policy statement does not come to this House as a bill, and so it has got no force of law to be applied as a law. It's only an advisory tool at the very best. So unless we do something about Section 49, then we must really frame our budget policy statements to be tied strictly to what the budget, what the taxation, what the tax revenue, or to whatever tax revenues that we can raise. Otherwise, we are responsible for the odious debt that is burdening this country, that is pushing us to junk status. So I'll pray that in the budget, the debt management strategy, this House considers repealing Section 49 of the Public Finance Management Act, so that the budget policy statement cannot be used to open a back door on the Appropriation Act, through which the executive can go on a loan borrowing spree purporting to be implementing the budget policy statement, which is not a law, but a piece of advice on how the government should be able to raise revenue, or within which sets the broad parameters within which the government's budget should be set. So with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, sir, I say that as matters stand, the budget policy statement, the debt management strategy amounts to nothing. There's no strategy, there's no plan, there's nothing that we are trying to do other than trying to just talk to ourselves in a language we don't understand. And that, for me, is a very, very sad day for this country. So there's no strategy on the table, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
Senator Chiranke.
Speaker, I'll make quick comments. I want to commend the committee for this report. I think the issue of public debt management strategy is very key. So, Speaker, it is a reality that as of 2026, the public debt was 12.3 trillion Kenyan shillings, Mr. Speaker. It's also a reality that for some time now, Kenya has a deficit budget, where we are projecting to have a budget of 4.7 trillion. The input or the extrapolation of that, Mr. Speaker, sir, is we will keep borrowing to finance our obligations under the public budget of 4.7 trillion. So, Speaker, I'm happy the committee has noted, but has not given us a way out, because the public debt is at 68% of the GDP, going beyond the legal limit of 55%, Mr. Speaker. So I hope the obligations, and we hope it will stabilize, because this public debt management, and I'm happy the Minister of Finance was with us in the morning, Mr. Speaker. I believe that these issues must be resolved once and for all. The Constitution has provided in Article 214 on the issue of public debt, how it should be managed, the guarantees, Mr. Speaker. You have remember, there are many guarantees that sometimes we give for the obligations or loans we get as a country. Mr. Speaker, my third point, because I'll only make 4, is Article 202, that says that revenue raised nationally shall be shared equitably between the national and county governments. Now the question is, even as we discuss budget policy statement and allocation to counties as protectors of devolution under Article 96, is what will be the implication to the funding to county governments? Because Article 202 is very clear that it should be equitable. So the obligation, and I hope the Finance and Budget Committee, Senator Faki, should have given us the way out, because these guarantees are done by national government. There is no consultation between the national government and county governments to ensure that the county governments are aware of the public debt obligations. And I thought the medium strategy should have put in place, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the final point that I wanted to make, Mr. Speaker, is the issue, and many Kenyans should agree with this, that the fact that the public debt is 12.3 trillion, there are so many projects. And I'm happy the Senator of Kakamega has noted that the road contractors are on site. You have seen, Mr. Speaker, the one of Rironi Mau Summit. Somebody had alluded that there is no even a wheelbarrow. But I can confirm, as the use of those roads, a number of them, even who are going to Kisii, Mr. Speaker, were using the same road that is being constructed, and some many machines. And I'm happy the Senator of Nakuru has just told me that she just drove from Naivasha, and the machines are ongoing. So we are happy with that fact that money is being released. And this is the wisdom of the President, where we are now establishing National Infrastructure Fund, Mr. Speaker, that will take 5 trillion Kenyan shillings. And that is why that money is being raised through sale of Safaricom shares, Mr. Speaker, which and every right-thinking Kenyan must and should support. Because we need development across the country to be equitable and shareable, Mr. Speaker. Even the one on initial public offer through Kenya Pipeline Corporation, the KPC, this money shall be raised to National Infrastructure Fund. We want at least 5 trillion, Mr. Speaker, so that the road that is coming all the way from Wajir to Isiolo to Nairobi can be a reality. The one that is in Narok, the airport that is being constructed in Narok will be a reality, Mr. Speaker. The one that we are doing from Thika to Town Expressway will be a reality, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I think I am happy that the Finance and Budget Committee, the issue of National Infrastructure Fund of 5 trillion is a reality, and I hope as we do the public debt management, we will ensure the funds are available. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support this report of the Finance and Budget Committee on the medium-term debt management strategy, and I yield back.
I will now call upon the mover to reply.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to thank the seconder and those who have contributed to the motion, and especially Senator Cherargei. The views or the issues that you have expressed were within our thinking when we came up with this report. And in fact, it has been our insistence that the debt levels are unsustainable. And therefore, we look forward maybe in the next budget policy statement and medium-term debt management strategy, the Treasury will address these concerns, especially on the issue of borrowing more from the domestic market, which is set at 78%. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to reply, and under Standing Order 66.3, I beg that the putting of the question be deferred to a later time this afternoon. Thank you.
It is so deferred. Next order, clerk.
Order number 12, motion, report of the joint sitting of the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Energy and the Senate Standing Committee on Energy on the consideration of the Field Development Plan and the production sharing contracts for blocks T6 and T7 in South Lokichar Basin, Turkana County.
Chairperson, Standing Committee on Energy. You may proceed, Senator Kisang.
Good. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Chair of the Energy Standing Committee of Senate, Dr. Uhuru, I beg to present. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Senate adopts the report of the Joint Committee of the Standing Committee on Senate and the Departmental Committee on Energy of the National Assembly on the consideration of the Field Development Plan for the South Lokichar Basin and the production sharing contracts for blocks T6 and T7, together with the associated first addenda laid on the table of both houses, and adopts the recommendations of the Joint Committee pursuant to Article 71 of the Constitution and Section 31 of the Petroleum Act 2019. Honorable Speaker, the South Lokichar Basin Field Development Plan, together with the associated production sharing contracts for blocks T6 and T7, was tabled in the Senate on Thursday, 27 November 2025, pursuant to Article 71 of the Constitution. The article requires that any grant of a right or concession for the exploitation of natural resources by or on behalf of the national government be ratified by Parliament. Upon tabling, the FDV and the PSCs were committed to the Committee on Energy for detailed consideration in accordance with Article 118 of the Constitution, which provides for public participation in parliamentary process. Honorable Speaker, in a communication dated 4 December 2025, the Speaker of the National Assembly encouraged the Departmental Committee on Energy of the National Assembly and the Standing Committee on Energy of the Senate to convene joint sittings for the examination of the contracts and conduct public participation. This was aimed at ensuring consistency, eliminating duplication, promoting a bicameral approach, and expediting the consideration process. Honorable Speaker, consequently, on 29 December 2025, the Speaker of the Senate, yourself, sir, approved the formation of a joint committee comprising the two committees, both from National Assembly and Senate. Honorable Speaker, the mandate of the Joint Committee was to consider the production sharing contracts and the Field Development Plan in accordance with Article 71 of the Constitution and Section 31 of Petroleum Act 2019, as I had said. Honorable Speaker, the PSCs and FDV outlined the proposed commercialization commercial development of 6 oil discoveries within South Lokichar Basin, Turkana County, and detail the strategy for the development of the discoveries and additional appraisal and exploration activities aimed at maximizing resource recovery within the designated development area. Honorable Speaker, the field development plan proposes a phased approach. Phase 1 covers the period of 2026 to 2031. Phase 2 is the period spanning 2032 to 2050, Honorable Speaker. Peak period crude oil production is projected at approximately 20,000 barrels per day during phase 1 and 50,000 barrels per day during phase 2. The estimated oil in place within the blocks range between 1.1, 1.9 and 3.5 billion stock tanks barrels, with an estimated recoverable resource of 326 million stock tank barrels over the life of the project, subject to upside potential and the alternative development scenarios, Honorable Speaker. To achieve the projected production volumes and realize fast oil for export leather in the year 2026, this year, Honorable Speaker, around December, the contractor intends to deploy early production facilities within the Lokichar Basin, that is Ngamia and Amosing oil fields, within the current year 2026, and subsequently a central processing facility in 2032 to support increased production in phase 2. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Article 118 of the Constitution and Section 131(3) of the Petroleum Act, the Joint Committee undertook extensive public participation. And Honorable Speaker, when we met the stakeholders, everybody lauded that this was very extensive public participation that has not been undertaken in the past, Honorable Speaker. The committee also received, we undertook public participation in Turkana County, Uasin Gishu County, Trans Nzoia County, West Pokot, Lamu, and Mombasa, Honorable Speaker, between the dates of January 12th to 6th of February 2026. The committee also received several written memorandums following advertisements that was put in the dailies from the ministries, several ministries, and we met several CSs and stakeholders, oil and gas experts, and the contractor Gov Energy, including the County Assembly of Turkana and the Executive of Turkana Counties. Honorable Speaker, the committee considered a wide range of issues raised during the hearings, including but not limited to the need for meaningful public participation, transparency of the agreements, and disclosure of the ownership of the companies. Honorable Speaker, the committee addressed these concerns by ensuring hearings were all conducted in affected counties, as I had mentioned, Honorable Speaker. On local community issues, the committee had concerns regarding land compensation, revenue sharing, employment opportunities. Yes, I'm doing it. I'm summarizing. Don't worry. The committee noted that the committee observed that the project is expected to generate over 3,000 direct and indirect jobs, and included jobs over the life cycle of the project. The local content plan targets 100% Kenyan participation in unskilled labor and skilled works, and at least 50% Kenyan participation in specialized upstream operations. The committee also noted the commitment by the contractor to reserve a portion of trucking contracts for enterprises based in Turkana. Honorable Speaker, out of about 600 trucks that will be moving daily, they have reserved 400 of them, basically close to 80%, 70% to the locals. Honorable Speaker, to save time, I just wanted to ask members that we support this particular report because it will unlock fast oil by December this year. With ratification of this particular report, Honorable Speaker, it will unlock Kenya's first commercial oil production, targeted for December this year, ending a 13-year-old delay since the discovery. The discovery was done in 2012, and up to now, we have not been able to exploit this particular resource, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in concluding, as I urge members to support this particular report, this is the time when our colleagues and our countrymen and women from Turkana Honorable Speaker, will benefit and join the rest of Kenyans in development. Sometimes last year, Honorable Speaker, the Committee on Energy, we traveled for benchmarking in Saudi Arabia. And we were told by 1950s, 1960s, Saudi Arabia was a desert. Saudi Arabia, they were just adding camels. But Honorable Speaker, when you go to Saudi Arabia now, it's a different country. It is first world. Education is free there. Medical is free. People are given stipend daily. So this is the way that we need to go so that those who have been marginalized for a long time, Honorable Speaker, may benefit from the resources that God gave us. You know, there are some places of Kenya that are very dry. We believe there is nothing there. But when God gave others rain, God gave others also natural and mineral resources under the soil, Honorable Speaker. And this is the opportunity for Turkana County and the rest of Kenya also to benefit from this oil. This is where we are going to stabilize our currency. This is where the exchange rate between Kenya shillings and the dollar will come below 100. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. After careful consideration of all submissions and a thorough analysis of the legal, fiscal, environmental, social, and economic implications, the Joint Committee recommends that the House adopts this report and approves the ratification of the production sharing contracts and field development plan for blocks T6 and T7 in South Lokichar Basin in Turkana County. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request the House to adopt this report, and I invite and request Senator Beatrice Okola to second.
Honorable Speaker, I rise as a very confident member of the Joint Committee to second the motion for the adoption of the report of the Joint Committee of the Standing Committee of Energy of the Senate and the Departmental Committee on Energy of the National Assembly on the consideration of the field development plan for the South Lokichar Basin and the production sharing contract for block T6 and T7. Honorable Speaker, I want to start by commending the Joint Committee that was led by two ranking members of the two houses, Senator Dr. Uhuru, who is the chair of the Senate Committee of Energy, and Honorable Gikaria, who is the chair of the National Assembly Committee of Energy. Honorable Speaker, as we started on this assignment, there were concerns that were very generalized, concerns that rose from the development plan and the contract that was before us. Two issues came up, the issue of tax exemptions and the recoverable cost of 85%. Honorable Speaker, that concerned all of us, even as the Joint Committee. But Honorable Speaker, we held a very robust public participation that took us across all the counties of Uasin Gishu, of West Pokot, of Trans Nzoia, of Lamu, of Mombasa, and finally, Honorable Speaker, we were able to have a very robust public participation in Turkana County. Honorable Speaker, a number of issues came up in the public participation. Key of them were members of the public getting concerned about environmental measures that were going to be taken into consideration. A number of them talked about infrastructure along the corridor. Issues of land compensation and land resettlement also came up, and the issue of water. But most importantly, Honorable Speaker, while we were in Turkana as a joint committee, the issue of insecurity also came up. And the people of Turkana were very clear. They stated that if the issue of insecurity is not solved, Honorable Speaker, then the exploration would not take place. Honorable Speaker, as we continued with the public participation, we had a lot of engagement, even with the technical experts. We received written memorandums. We were able to have presentations from the government sector heads, like the Ministry of Water, the Ministry of Energy, of course, the Treasury, Interior, the National Land Commission, the Auditor General, the Controller of Budget, the Attorney General, KRA. And Honorable Speaker, all the issues that were of concern to the members of the public were thrashed out in our stakeholders meeting. Honorable Speaker, as I second this motion, I want
Senator, you get 5 minutes. Can you conclude your thoughts?
Honorable Speaker, as I conclude my thought, I would like to urge Kenyans that we are able to meet professionals and of particular interest were tax experts, led by one Dr. Bruce Ogaga, that thrashed a number of our concerns that we picked from the public. Honorable Speaker, as I wind up, I also want to say that the county governments along all the exploration rights have a role to play in this project, Honorable Speaker, because the counties must also be able to plan their counties in advance, in plan for the urban issues that are going to emerge, issues of planning, issues of traffic, Honorable Speaker. And so, Honorable Speaker, as I wind up my presentation, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that the benefits that this country and the benefits Turkana country that is going to get from the exploration is massive. And so, Honorable Speaker, I beg to second the motion.
Senator Korir. Honorable Senators, I will now propose the question that the Senate adopt the report of the joint sitting of the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Energy and the Senate Standing Committee on Energy on the consideration of the Field Development Plan and the production sharing contracts for blocks T6 and T7 in the South Lokichar Basin, Turkana County, which was laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 24th February 2026, and pursuant to Article 71(1) of the Constitution and Section 31(1) and 2 of the Petroleum Act, the Senate ratifies the Field Development Plan and the production sharing contracts for blocks T6 and T7 in South Lokichar Basin, Turkana County. With the leadership intervention, we are going to have 2 senators across the aisle, starting with the senator for Turkana County.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for this opportunity. First and foremost, I want to support this report from the Joint Committee of National Assembly and the Senate. Chair, I want to thank God for this opportunity that made oil to be discovered in Turkana. Discovery of oil in Turkana, Chair, has mitigated the historical injustices that were there since the paper of 1965, where people were claiming that that land of Turkana should not develop. But here, Chair, this oil has benefited, or the benefits of the oil will develop Turkana County in the form of, 1, provision of transport means, that is roads, provision of water. Water will be taken from the Takwal Gorge right away to Turkana, and even oil field. share the local content. The local content contains the issue of employment and training. This discovery of oil share will give the local communities employment. And then share, on top of employment, this discovery share also will ensure the scholarship from the local community. All those opportunities will be enjoyed by the local community. Share, moreover, there is also the business community will have an opportunity of making profit through the OPEX, operation cost. The cost of this soil will be more than trillion share. And we have agreed from the public participation that the community will participate in the business of this oil, so that now they will change their life. The chair has something that I wanted to note. There is what we call the recovery cost, which is 85%. Chair, from the public participation, it was very clear that in the recovery cost, what the community participants said, and even the community itself share, there must be transparency and accountability in the recovery of 85%, which is the cost of oil. We consider and we ponder that the transparency in this recovery of this oil, of these expenses, the community and the other stakeholders are expected this 85% to be recovered in a transparent way, and share the balance, which is 15%, which will be shared by the national government, the county government, and the community, which is 15% share. If this 15% will be considered if profit will be there. If cost of oil will be much share, we will see the profit that will be gotten by the community is low. The only way we can consider from the law that we have to make legislation to make sure the 5% and 25% from the county will be put in a wealth sovereign fund, so that in the case of problems, these funds will be used to cater for the needs of the community. Finally, share, there is a problem that is there, denominator. This one, Chair, issue of insecurity. If security will not be taken care, Chair, even the staff who will be working with the investor will be challenged, Chair. And the problem of water shortage.
Senator Murgo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. It is, I support the report as given by the Chair of Energy. We participated in the public participation, especially a later public participation, and we in Pokot agree with the report, and the plan is to take water from Pokot, which is Takwell Dam, to go and clean the oil in Turkana. And while we are in agreement, because we see it as being a source of development for Turkana, and supposedly Pokot as well, because Pokot and Turkana border each other, and the water that is going to help in cleaning this crude oil is from Pokot. But according to the report and plan that went into the Ministry of Water and then aired later, the Pokot side is silent. There is nothing mentioned about Pokot. And what Pokot expect mainly is irrigation, as promised for many years, educational enhancements, road for accessibility, and health. And therefore, I'm seeing a hitch from the Pokot side, which is expected to provide the water, that they will not allow this water to go unless there is also consideration of what they have expressed as being part of development that needs attention as much as Turkana expects a lot from this on education, health, roads, and so on. And therefore, this report, when it comes to implementation, will probably face some hitches, both from Turkana, because the Turkanas are expecting a lot, and Pokot are expecting a lot. Otherwise, I support. Thank you.
Senator Edwin Sifuna.
Honorable Speaker, in the life of this Parliament, today will be remembered as perhaps the most historic afternoon. And it actually breaks my heart that we are rushing through this matter that is one of the most important matters this Parliament will handle in its lifetime. I wish that we had given members enough time to read and internalize and understand what we are about to do this afternoon. Honorable Speaker, the Joint Committees of Energy of the National Assembly and the Senate have produced a report that is over 170 pages. How I wish, Honorable Speaker, this House, before giving consideration to this matter, would allow members to actually go through what this report talks about. I am surprised that the committee on which I sit on has recommended that we approve this field development plan. Honorable Speaker, I have certain challenges, and I think history will be very unkind on me if I do not bring this to the attention of the country. When this field development plan was reported or was tabled here and brought before our committee, Honorable Speaker, we identified 4 red flags that we thought would first have to be addressed by the contractor, Gulf Energy, before we could give a stamp of approval on this particular field development plan. A field development plan, in very simple terms, Honorable Speaker, sets out the obligations of the oil exploration company and what they're expected to do, and the entire plan of bringing oil out of the ground. In very simple terms, Honorable Speaker, Kenya has adopted a mechanism of oil production where we have something called a production sharing contract. What that essentially means is that the person who's given the contract to develop the oil fields will put in their money in the first initial stages or in the early days, and then whatever comes out of the ground, there is a percentage that goes to government and there's a percentage that goes to the contractor themselves. The first red flag, Honorable Speaker, is that the initial field development plan that we had signed had set a capping of the recovery rate for the, what they are calling recoverable costs. The costs are not recovered 100%. They are recovered at a certain rate. The initial field development plan had capped it at 55%. So the contractor would recover 55% from whatever oil is produced in the first year, and the 45% would be what would be available for splitting between the government and that contractor. Honorable Speaker, on the 24th of November, 2025, that 55% was moved to 85%. What that tells you is that when the oil comes out, the contractor, first of all, takes 85% of their costs from whatever oil is produced, leaving a paltry 15% available for sharing between the national government and the contractor. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, the definition of what are recoverable costs covers largely what are called capital expenditure. The capital expenditure, the definition of that capital expenditure, Honorable Speaker, was altered in the initial field development plan to include what we call recurrent expenditure, things like labor, Honorable Speaker, that are essentially not capital expenditure. And that was the second red flag. We did receive submissions, Honorable Speaker. I just want to talk about this question of recoverable costs for a bit. There was a submission by the Office of the Auditor General dated 11th of February 2026, Honorable Speaker. And the Auditor General addresses this question of the audit of recoverable costs, because the recoverable costs cannot be left to the contractor to say, by the way, this is what I have spent this particular time. There has to be an objective way of ascertaining what those recoverable costs are. The Auditor General noted that this responsibility of auditing had been placed on EPRA, limiting the scope and ability of the Office of the Auditor General to determine these costs. And Honorable Speaker, that even in the period that exploration has been going there, that no approved costs had ever been submitted for audit. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, the lack of audit has denied us, this is the words of the Auditor General, the lack of audit has denied us opportunity to determine ineligible costs, which ultimately reduces government share of revenue from the exploration. The next red flag, Honorable Speaker, was the amendment of the original production contract to exempt the oil company from any taxes. And we had hoped that these matters would be addressed before we would be asked to actually approve this particular field development plan. We went, Honorable Speaker, on a circuit across the country. I was happy that I was in Changamwe during the public participation down there. The people of Changamwe told us in no uncertain terms that what they expect in Changamwe is not crude oil being tracked and being stored at the facility in KPRL awaiting shipment, but they wanted a revival of the refinery in Changamwe. That is what they told the committee, Honorable Speaker, and that is what they're expecting. That is
Senator Chirankere. You knew you had 5 minutes, Honorable Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this report and under able leadership of ODM party leader and the chair, Senator Oburu Odinga, who is our Gen Z leader. And the other day he was saying, "Weka mawe." Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's good to have him to midwife his own report, Mr. Speaker. So, Speaker, I have read this report and I want to dissuade what the Deputy Minority Leader for the time being has just said. Some of us have read the report. The report, I've gone through the report, Mr. Speaker, under Article 71 of the Constitution. What Parliament is obligated to do is what we are just doing. Because under Article 71, we must be part of the process, and I want to believe in the ability and capacity of all the members, Mr. Speaker. All the issues of, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of local content, I agree. We have passed the law, Mr. Speaker. 70% to the national government, 20% to county, and 10%. This report has even anchored, because most of the issues that has been raised, Mr. Speaker, has been captured under the law. Even if you look at compulsory acquisition, Mr. Speaker, Article 40 is very clear. Even in terms of community registration, with the report of Oburu Odinga-led committee has captured, Mr. Speaker. Even when you look at the issue of environment, under Article 69, the exploitation and sustainable exploitation and utilization of equitable and accruing of benefits has been captured for, Mr. Speaker, and I think it is very important, Mr. Speaker. Number 4, looking at the Petroleum Act, Mr. Speaker, the decommissioning of the site in that area, especially now that the concession and the field development plan and production sharing contract for blocks of T6 and T7, Mr. Speaker, is very critical, because Article 39 of the Petroleum Act has captured ably on decommissioning. So there should be no worry in the violation of Article 69 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. So, Speaker, the issue of resolution of dispute, if it arises that it goes outside the country, Mr. Speaker, as an exit clause in terms of any dispute between the government and regulator, there should be no worry, Mr. Speaker. I've heard some people expressing that there might not be access in terms of accountability and openness of engagement. Mr. Speaker, Article 35 of the Constitution is very clear that access to information is a basic human right, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, another point that I wanted to make is the issue of community law administration, and I'm happy the area senator has talked about it. I think the Section 108 of the Petroleum Act is very clear. It recognizes there is the issue of land loss, Mr. Speaker. There is the issue of land valuation, beneficial sharing, Mr. Speaker. And all this has been captured under the Petroleum Act, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, in a nutshot, in summary, this work that has done by Senator Oburu Odinga-led committee, Mr. Speaker, is what we need to support. Article 71 gives us the opportunity. Let us allow Turkana County to develop. Let us give opportunity to the people of Turkana, Mr. Speaker. They have been marginalized. Let them exploit their resources. I know, Mr. Speaker, when this resource will be exploited, the issue of water scarcity will be a thing of the past. The issue of security will be sorted once and for all, Mr. Speaker. Let us ensure that we put necessary support. And I want to thank the committee. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank almost all committee members signed, except the Senator of Nairobi. Mr. Speaker, the procedure of the House, if you disagree with a report, you generate a minority report and table before the House. But just speaking for the sake of public gallery and to look good, Mr. Speaker, in public rallies is very unfortunate. Let us give Kenyans the opportunity so that we can pass this once and for all, Mr. Speaker, so that we can ensure, and as a Senate and Parliament, Mr. Speaker, we will still oversight this report and the investor that will come to Turkana. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to support and yield back the mic. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I will now call upon the mover to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, for the benefit of the Senator and the people of West Pokot and Turkana County, Honorable Speaker, as I reply, I wanted to assure them that the Ministry of Water, the CS Water and the PS Water and the PS in charge of irrigation promised us they are going to put resources in the budget so that we'll have 3 lines. There'll be 3 lines from Targwel. 1 line going all the way to Lokichar.
Majority Leader, surely you cannot run a rally
it's becoming noisy.
parallel to these proceedings.
Honorable Speaker, there'll be 3 lines from Targwel Dam. 1 going all the way to the oil fields, and then there will be one for clean water to both West Pokot counties and Turkana County, and then there'll be a line to do irrigation on both sides of the 2 counties, Honorable Speaker, and they said they'll start initially at the minimum of 1,000 acres, going upwards to 10,000 acres under irrigation, Honorable Speaker. So it is good for the Senator Murkor to note that. And then, Honorable Speaker, the AG also came to the committee and gave a clean bill on all the legalities, Honorable Speaker. The reason why the recoverable cost was moved from 55 to 85% to make it bankable. The reason why Talo could not proceed, it was because it was not attractive. So they could not get an investor. That's why it was raised, Honorable Speaker. And the Auditor General, there's nothing that stops the Auditor General to audit the recoverable cost because it's in law. She is the auditor and she has that mandate. It's only that it's unfortunate that Senator Sifuna has left as a member of the committee, these chambers, because the reason why he's asking all those queries, he only attended 2 meetings and he left. All the issues, all the concerns were answered by the stakeholders. So he should have sat in the meeting so that these queries he doesn't have to raise in the House. He's the only one out of 9 members who didn't sign. All the other 8 members signed and agreed with the report. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to reply. And understanding order. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Good.
We will now go for division, but the division will be for order number 10 all the way to order number 16. So we will do division for all those orders. Order number 10 to 16. All right. So, Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the division bell for 5 minutes. Sergeant at Arms, you may now lock the door and draw the bar. Now, honorable senators, voting shall be done electronically, and therefore I will ask you to log out by pulling out all the delegate units. Now, Sergeant at Arms, kindly walk around and pick any unattended unit, delegate card that is still held in the unit. Stay logged out as the Sergeant at Arms picks all the unattended cards, please. Sergeant at Arms, are you done with that exercise? Good. Now, honorable senators, you may log in back as I put the question. Now, we are on order number 10. So the question I'm going to put relates to order number 10. Senator Haji, kindly take your seat. Your card has been collected. Can you give Honorable Haji his card? I will now proceed to put the question on order number 10. That the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the 2026 budget policy statement laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 24th of February, 2026, and pursuant to Section 25(7) of the Public Finance Management Act and Standing Order 186(8), the Senate approved the 2026 budget policy statement. You may now proceed to vote. Now, Senator Bertus Ogola, Senator Joyce Korir, and Senator George Mbugua, you are also supposed to vote on behalf of your delegations. You've been authorized to do that. Now, honorable senators, you must have noticed that in attendance there were 36 delegates when the voting was taking place. That was as a result of a card that had not been collected, a card belonging to Senator Daniel Manzo. So the number that is in the House when the voting was taking place was actually 35, not 36. I will now proceed to give you the result of the division. Ayes at 35, nays at 0, abstention at 0. So the ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 11, motion, report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the 2026 Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy Division.
Honorable Senators, I'll now put the question that the Senate adopt the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the 2026 Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy, which was laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 24th of February 2026, and approves the 2026 Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy. You may proceed to vote. Now, honorable Senators, the result of the division on order number 11 is as follows. Nays at 35, nays 0, abstention 0, so the ayes have it. I corrected it. Okay, I'll take it once again for the record. The result of the division on order number 11 is as follows. Nays at 35 votes, ayes at 35 votes, nays at 0 votes, abstention at 0 votes. So the ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 12, motion, report of the joint sitting of the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Energy and the Senate Standing Committee on Energy on the consideration of the Field Development Plan and the production sharing contracts for blocks T6 and T7 in South Lokichar Basin, Turkana County Division.
Honorable Senators, I will now put the question that the Senate adopt the report of the joint sitting of the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Energy and the Senate Standing Committee on Energy on the consideration of the Field Development Plan and the production sharing contracts for blocks T6 and T7 in the South Lokichar Basin, Turkana County, which was laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 24th of February 2026, and pursuant to Article 71(1) of the Constitution and Section 31(1) and 2 of the Petroleum Act, the Senate ratifies the Field Development Plan and the production sharing contracts for blocks T6 and T7 in South Lokichar Basin, Turkana County. You may now proceed to vote. Senator Osotsi, kindly proceed to dispatch and vote. Now, honorable senators, the result of the division on order number 12 is as follows: ayes at 35, nays 0, abstention 0. So the ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 13, the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bills number 72 of 2023, second reading division.
Honorable senators, I will now put the question that the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bills number 72 of 2023, be now read a second time. You may proceed to vote. Senator Falamu. Senator Githuku, proceed to dispatch and cast your vote. Honorable Senators, the result of division on order number 13 is as follows. The ayes are 35 votes, nays 0, abstention 0. So the ayes have it. Next order.
A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the establishment, roles and functions of the Kenya National Council for Population and Development, for the establishment of the board of the council and for connected purposes. Order number 14, motion, consideration of the report of the Mediation Committee on the Coffee Bill, Senate Bills number 10 of 2023, division.
Honorable Senators, I will put the question that the Senate adopt the report of the Mediation Committee on the Coffee Bill, Senate Bills number 10 of 2023, which was laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 4th of December 2025, and that pursuant to Article 113.2 of the Constitution and Standing Order 167.3 of the Senate, approve the mediated version of the bill. You may proceed to vote. Honorable Senators, the result of the division on order number 14 is as follows. Ayes are 35, nays 0, abstention 0. So the ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 15, the Electronic Equipment Disposal, Recycling and Reuse Bill, Senate Bills number 5 of 2025, division.
Honorable Senators, I will put the question that the Electronic Equipment Disposal, Recycling and Reuse Bill, Senate Bills number 5 of 2025, be now read a second time. You may proceed to vote. Honorable Senators, the result of the division on order number 15 is as follows. Ayes at 35, nays at 0, abstention at 0, so the ayes have it.
The Electronic Equipment Disposal, Recycling and Reuse Bill 2025, a bill for an act of Parliament to provide a legal framework for environmentally sustainable disposal, recycling and reuse of e-waste, establishing the e-waste recycling plant, the e-waste sorting site and the ward consolidation site, and for connected purposes. Second reading.
Next order.
Order number 16, the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 48 of 2024, division.
Senator Korir, this is the 7th time I'm asking you to take your seat. Honorable Senators, I put the question that the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 48 of 2024, be now read a second time. You may proceed to vote. Honorable Senators, the result of the division on order number 16 is as follows. Ayes at 35, nays 0, abstention 0. So the ayes have it.
The Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill 2024, second reading, a bill for an act of Parliament to amend the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act and for connected purposes.
Sergeant at Arms, you may now withdraw the bar and open the doors. Now, Honorable Senators, we are going to the Committee of the Whole. We still need you to be present. Next order.
Order number 17, Committee of the Whole, the County Library Services Bill, Senate Bills number 40 of 2024, division.
Honorable Senators, you be upstanding. We have come from a very long recess, I know.
Honorable senators, please resume your seats. Okay. Honorable senators, please take your seat. Distinguished Senator of Naivasha, please take your seat, and we need you. We need you to vote. Nakuru, sorry. My apologies. You're more synonymous with Naivasha. And the Senate is going to be a guest soon. Honorable senators, clerk, can we ascertain we have quorum? Yes, we do. We have quorum. Okay, we have quorum. Okay, honorable senators, we are going to division. The County Library Service Bill, Senate Bills number 40 of 2025. Sergeant at Arms, please close the door and draw the bar. Honorable senators, I put the question that clause 5, clause 8, clause 9, clause 12, and the schedule be deleted. Please vote, senators.
Senator Manzo. Come, approach the desk. Is he here?
Yeah, he's here.
Senator Eddie Okech, approach the desk. Did you ask the Sergeant at Arms if they have your card? Do you have the card for Senator Manzo, Sergeant at Arms? Honorable Senators, let's proceed to the next division. I put the question that clause 3, clause 4, clause 6, clause 7, clause 11, clause 13, clause 2 and the title be amended as proposed. You may now vote, Honorable Senators. Senator Eddy, vote. Manzo, Senator Manzo, come and vote. Senator Lelegwe, come and vote. Senator Wafula. Honorable Senators, let us proceed to vote. I put the question that clause 3 as amended, clause 4 as amended, clause 6 as amended, clause 7 as amended, clause 10, clause 11 as amended, clause 13 as amended, the title as amended, and clause 1 be part of the bill. Proceed. You may now vote. Senators, please vote. Please vote. Those who have not voted, please vote. Senator Dulo. Senator Cheriot. You didn't vote. Senator Mwaruma. Senator Eddie Okech. Senator Beatrice. Senator Mofire. Senator Mofire. Be voted. Honorable Senators, we are just compiling the results. We'll get back to you shortly. Honorable Senators, these are the results. Deletion clauses, the ayes 26, no, nays 0, abstention 0, the ayes have it. Clauses with amendment. Senator Joyce Korir, calling you to report.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the Senate its consideration of the County Library Service Bill, Senate Bill number 40 of 2024, and its approval thereof with amendments. I ask Honorable Chute to second.
It's okay, Joyce. He doesn't need a second. Honorable Senators, I put the question that the committee do report to the Senate its consideration of the County Library Service Bill, Senate Bills number 40 of 2024, and its approval thereof. With amendments. As many as of that opinion say aye. As many as of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Honorable Senators, Madam Speaker. Honorable Senators, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, Honorable Senator, the session has resumed, and I want to invite the chairperson to report. Senator Abdul Haji.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole has considered the County Library Service Bill, Senate Bills number 40 of 2024, and its approval thereof, with amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Abdul. Now I want to call the mover of this bill to proceed and move.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report.
Who is the seconder? Who is the seconder? Senator Joyce?
Yeah, I call upon Senator Chute to second.
I beg to second, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Chute. I propose the question that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I put the question that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I want to invite the mover to move the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move that the County Libraries Bill, Senate Bill number 40 of 2024, be now read at that time.
Who is the seconder?
I ask Honorable Kinywa to second.
Madam Chair, I second.
Thank you, Senator Kinywa. I propose the question that the County Library Services Bill, Senate Bills number 40 of 2024, be now read a third time. I put the question that the County Library Services Bill, Senate Bills number 40 of 2024, be now read a third time. It's my time for division. Honorable Senators, we are now proceeding to division, so I will request you to log out and log back in, ready to move to the division part. We are voting electronically. County, but because this division now is different. Are we moving to this division on the county library? Yes, because this is different. We have done the third reading. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So. Honorable Senators, I put the question that the County Library Services Bill, Senate Bills number 40 of 2024, be now read at that time, and you may proceed to vote. Why, Senator Joyce Corrill, can you approach the clerk's desk for assistance in voting? Assisted voter, Bomet County. Honorable Senators, these are the results of that division. Ayes 29, nays 0, abstention 0. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the establishment of county libraries in each county, the establishment of a county library development committee in each county, the functions and powers of each county library development committee, and for connected purposes.
That's the end of that division, so you can do the bars and open the doors. We can go back to the normal sequencing of the order paper, so I'll request the clerk to call out order number 5 on papers, Majority Leader.
Order number 5, papers.
Mr. Speaker, sir. Oh, sorry.
I hope I don't look like
No.
sir.
You're too beautiful.
Thank you for the compliment.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Senate today, Wednesday, the 25th of February, 2026. This is a report of the Office of the Controller of Budget on the National Government Budget Implementation Review for the first 3 months for the financial year 2025-2026. Reports of the Auditor General laid pursuant to Senate resolution on Tuesday, the 11th, 2025, on the referral of statutory instruments and papers submitted during the recess for the year ended 30th June 2025 on Biwasco Water and Sewerage Public Land Company, Lysamis Sub-County Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Marsabit, Isiolo Water and Sewerage Company, Isiolo Municipality, Gatundu Level 4 Hospital in Kiambu, Kianda 42 Level 4 Hospital in Nairobi, Kayole 2 Sub-County Level 4 Hospital in Nairobi, Makadara Level 4, Mama Lucy Kibaki Level 5 Hospital, County Government of Nairobi, Bahati Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Nairobi, Bahati Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Nairobi, Bumula B Sub-County Hospital, County Government of Busia, Nambale Sub-County Hospital, County Government of Busia, Cheptai Sub-County Hospital, County Government of Bungoma, Moyale Sub-County Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Marsabit, Equalization Fund, County Government of Marsabit, Rumuruti Sub-County Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Laikipia, Dindika Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Laikipia, Isiolo County Assembly Mortgage and Car Loan Scheme Fund, Equalization Fund, County Government of Samburu, Bumula Sub-County Hospital, County Government of Bungoma, Nyeri County Climate Change Fund, Turkana County Rural Water Services Public Limited, Lokitwang Sub-County Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Turkana, Kitale County Referral Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Trans Nzoia, Magutuni Sub-County Hospital, County Government of Tharaka Nithi, Kericho County Executive Staff Car Loan Fund, Meru County Climate Change Fund, Kieni Water and Sewerage Company, Danai Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Bomet, Ishiara Sub-County Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Embu, Kericho County Agricultural Development Fund, Kapkatet Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Kericho, Kericho County Emergency Fund, Kericho County Bursary Fund, Kajiado County Equalization Fund, Kilifi County Assembly Mortgage Scheme Fund, Mavoko Water and Sanitation Company, Nakuru Water and Sanitation Services Company Limited, Municipal Council of Machakos Water and Sewerage Company Limited, Homa Bay County Teaching and Referral Hospital, County Government of Homa Bay, Wajir County Revolving Fund, Mandera Municipality, County Government of Mandera, Kirinyaga County Climate Change Fund, Kirinyaga County Education Bursary Fund, Karatina Sub-County Hospital, County Government of Nyeri, Kirinyaga County Emergency Fund, Trans Nzoia County Nawiri Fund, Mtito Andei Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Makwiny, Dadaab Sub-County Hospital, County Government of Garissa, Elwak Water and Sewerage Company, Habaswein Sub-County Level 4 Hospital in Wajir, Equalization Fund, County Government of Mandera, Baringo County Youth and Women, Demonstration Farm Fund in Kisii, Wajir Water and Sewerage Company, Tabaka Sub-County Referral Hospital in Mandera, Gusii Water and Sanitation Company, Kwale Water and Sewerage Company Limited, Kenya Medical Research Institute, Sibo Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Kilifi County Assembly Members Mortgage and Car Loan Scheme Fund, Baringo County Micro and Small Enterprise Fund, Kitui County Executive Car Loan and Mortgage Fund for 15 months period ended 30th June 2025, Kadhiani Water and Sanitation Company Fund, Nakuru County Enterprise Fund, Mama Rachel Ruto Maternity Hospital, County Government of Uasin Gishu, Wamba Sub-County Hospital, County Government of Samburu, Elgeyo Marakwet County Assembly Revolving Fund, Ongata Rongai Sub-County Hospital, County Government of Kajiado, Nanyuki Water and Sanitation Company, Kakamega County Assembly Loans Fund, Iten Tambach Water and Sewerage Company Limited, Tana Water Development Agency, Dithini Level 4 Hospital, Machakos County Government, Cheranganyi Marakwet and Water and Sanitation Company, Nandi County Assembly Scheme Fund, Uasin Gishu District Hospital, County Government of Uasin Gishu, Nanyuki Teaching and Referral Hospital, Laikipia County Government, Equalization Fund, Laikipia County, Kapsabet Municipality, Nandi County Government, Kapsabet Nandi Water and Sanitation Company, Rukanga Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Kirinyaga County Agricultural Institutions Revolving Fund, Nyandarua County Emergency Fund, Nyeri County Executive Car Loan and Mortgage Scheme Fund, Matungulu Kangundo Water and Sewerage Company Fund, Ololeza Water and Sewage Company Fund, Kirinyaga County Alcohol Drink Substance Abuse, Muranga Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Muranga, Mukuruene Sub-County Level 4 Hospital in Nyeri, Narumoru Water and Sanitation Company Limited. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader, for that. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable Senators, we are reorganizing the order paper and deferring all the statements to come up again tomorrow in the afternoon session. So I'll ask the clerk to call the next order. Please call order number 25 on the culture bill.
Order number 25, the Culture Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2024, second reading, resumption of debate.
Majority Leader, you had a remainder of 52 minutes. I hope you do not intend to use all of them.
No, I had actually finished.
Share them with the seconder.
I had actually finished making my comments on this particular bill. It's a very important bill, Madam Speaker. I said any society that cannot trace its roots somewhere is a lost society. Many of the challenges we see, including in the first world, by the way, Madam Speaker, some of these people that you see struggle with identity crisis, and I know, besides being a lawyer, you're a psychologist as well, and you understand some of these things. You see people who struggle with culture. It shows off, despite the level of education, despite wealth. Many of them, if you meet and interact with them, you can see that there's a longing to connect with somewhere. That's the beauty of culture, Madam Speaker. And that's why the drafters of our Constitution included culture and cultural rights as part of the social rights under the Bill of Rights in Chapter 11 of our Constitution, Madam Speaker. And this piece of legislation is intended to ensure that we find ways, Madam Speaker, of giving life to those provisions of our Constitution by ensuring that we guide appropriately on what needs to be done in that regard. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I want to appreciate this opportunity to move this bill. I know many members will have opportunity to say something, or if they don't, nonetheless, they will have done their bit. With those many remarks, Madam Speaker, I beg to move and request the Senator for Nandi, the indefatigable warrior, Senator Samson Kiprotich Cherargei, Madam Speaker, to second.
Senator Samson Cherargei, you have earned yourself a title of indefatigable warrior. I hope warrior in a good sense. Devolution warrior.
I'm the devolution warrior. And I am saying, I need to, if you have seen the majority leader has acknowledged, as I second the bill, then I might also be a majority leader or a bigger person in future. So, Madam Speaker, thank you. Madam Speaker, as I second this bill, because there is no culture legal framework that has put in place, and I think this is a straightforward bill. Madam Speaker, we have identity, our culture. The culture defines who we are. It's a set of values, it's a set of moral issues, Madam Speaker, and the definition, the lifestyle, social interactions, social group, its value systems, traditions, beliefs, language, ideas, customs, code, institutions, works of art, rituals, and ceremonies, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker, you remember the other day, and I'm happy that the distinguished senator of Kakamega is here with us. Because when I was thinking of seconding this bill, the culture bill, I remember when, unfortunately, my condolences, unfortunately, we lost the former MB of Lugari, Honorable Cyrus Jirongo. I had to follow online the distinguished senator of Kakamega performing serious ceremony as he went to view the body of the late Honorable Cyrus Jirongo. And I was amazed by the unique culture of the Luhya nation, the Mulembe nation. I saw him taking bulls, celebrating. You know, I was amazed on how Senator Kalwale was able, Madam Speaker, to do it. And I don't know whether, Madam Speaker, you had opportunity of watching. I had to watch the whole of it. And that is, this was a doctor. But because of culture, cultural beliefs, he was shaped by the culture. He's proud. There are people who, when they become professors, they wear suits, they wear nice clothes, they want to behave like the Europeans and the Wazungus. But I am happy that the identity and the culture that Senator Boni Khalwale displayed that day was very unique, and it taught some of us the value and the role of the culture, Madam Speaker. And I hope, because under fourth schedule, Madam Speaker, one of the roles of county governments under the fourth schedule is cultural activities. And I hope as Senator Kalwale becomes the governor of Kakamega, he should be able to anchor the role of cultural activities within the Mulembe nation and Kakamega. We don't want to see people, Madam Speaker, you know, these functions of our people, the culture, is dependent on the handouts, is dependent on politics. We want, when he has a bullfighting in Malinya, Madam Speaker, in Malinya, in Kakamega, that should be owned and funded by the taxpayers, because it is our identity. Why should it depend on the goodwill of individuals? I hope that is the bullfighting. We have seen even in Vihiga, Madam Speaker, those ceremonies being done. Madam Speaker, you remember even when we lost Kijana Wamalwa and many other aspects, Madam Speaker, you could see. I think the funeral ceremony shows more. And Madam Speaker, you are aware we also lost the former Prime Minister, Raila Odinga. We still condole with the family, and we know this is the leader that we have ever had. And you know, many people visited Jaramogi Kakango. And even us, as a community, we had to take cows to celebrate or to mourn with the family, Madam Speaker. And we were told And I know I met the Mulembe Nation. I don't know, I saw Senator Kalwale came after to condole with the family. And when we were told, Madam Speaker, to take the cows or the cattle to mourn, we were supposed to go chanting, saying, Joey, 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 Madam Speaker. So we had to, and spear, Madam Speaker, and some regalia. And we were told that is terrible or something, Madam Speaker. We were doing that. I don't know, I know Senator Kalwale is an expert. And I hope, Madam Speaker, it is possible in our standing orders to amend and use, instead of debating, we use even a show or we dramatize. This bill would be better explained by the Senator of Kakamega. We would have allowed him to perform what he just performed a few months ago so that we can understand. But I'm saying, even in my culture, whenever young people are going to the
Are you sure you want that torch he was holding to come to the Senate? Anyway, proceed.
But I'm saying, but my only worry is that I never knew there is a culture where known a torch. You know, that's the only thing I wanted to ask Senator Kalwale, is that I have not had time to sit with him. But by the time, Madam Speaker, if I'm not wrong, Senator Kalwale, through the Speaker, I thought that torch is now off. Is it off with some individuals? Maybe he will tell us when he will be supporting the bill. Because he was carrying the torch, and he said he was exposing the killer. So I hope, or the torch is still on. I'm told by the time it switches off with individuals who might have committed that offense, Madam Speaker. Even in my culture, Madam Speaker, we have initiation ceremonies, we have weddings, we have rituals, Madam Speaker. You have seen in our cultures, whenever somebody loses or in some sense you steal, Madam Speaker, you have seen even in areas where somebody steals and there are some rituals performed, people are killed, there are rituals that are performed. These are part and culture of our society, even as we have elaborate. I think all the African cultures have elaborate. To be a man, in my culture, you have to have gone to the ceremony of the home or the traditional initiation ceremony. There are stages, life stages of a man. When you are, or a woman, when you are being born, Madam Speaker, there is a stage, you are given a name, identity, which is recognized by the Constitution. There are process that is performed. We have mixed Christianity or religion with culture, Madam Speaker, and you are aware. Because when we are being born in the villages, my name essentially, for example, means, my real name, Kiprotich, means that I was born in the evening, like now when the cows were being brought home. So everything, and one of your clerks, Cherop, was born when it is rainy season like this. So it has a meaning, it has a particular meaning. And I think all names, even where you come from, although it's more matriarchal society, house of Mumbi, nyumba ya Mumbi, Andoa Itu, nyumba ya Mumbi, the famous Mount Kenya, they are associated. When you go to Western, they have elaborate ways, and that one is developing. Madam Speaker, and I think, Madam Speaker, as I go to the fourth point, because I have only 6 points, is that I think the African values and cultures were very good. Because one, when you go through initiation ceremony, you are taught how to be responsible, especially in my culture. How to be a man, how to take care of a home, how to take care of cows, how to behave decently, how to be respectful. In fact, in my culture, respect is equated to many things, and quote unquote, Madam Speaker, respect is equated to a cow because it symbolizes life, Madam Speaker. They quote unquote, that is what they normally say, Madam Speaker. To translate loosely, respect is equal to a cow, which is a symbol of respect and life. So essentially, those values. Now we are being told we are Western. You know, you could not see even, Madam Speaker, even this culture that come upon, like, for example, what we are seeing, LGBTQ, the issue of gayism, the issue of lesbianism, Madam Speaker, it was never there in our culture. Because as we respect sanctity of life, Madam Speaker, we know family, and I'm happy this Constitution says family is between a man and a woman. The degeneration of values of society is courtesy that we have imported too much on the Western culture, beliefs and ideas and values until we have thrown away. That is why you are seeing issues that we have never seen. And I agree with President Museveni Because he asked a question, if you are gay, if there is a proof that you can come up with life, then he will allow gayism in Uganda. You have shown a West Africa country, or was it Senegal, that they have now introduced 10 years. These are alien values that were never there, Madam Speaker. Because how can a man leave beautiful ladies and girls and women and go for another man, which we have never, it is not part of the culture that you are talking about, Madam Speaker. So counties, also we must call. I don't want when the people of Mount Kenya, I've read the book Facing Mount Kenya, and I was reading the book, It's Our Turn to Eat by John Kitongo. There's another one, Facing Mount Kenya, Madam Speaker. We want, when the House of Mumbi wants to meet, there is a legal framework, they can engage, we can ensure the values are protected, Madam Speaker. I hope one day we will have a library that the children of House of Mumbi can go and study about the Kikuyu. Can go to Koitalel, Madam Speaker, you are aware. We have Koitalel Mausoleum in Nandi Hills, Nandi Hills town, Nandi County. My people of Nandi can go and study the values, the beliefs, the ceremonies, the rituals that the people of Nandi believed in. Equally to other Kalenjin sub-tribes, equally to the Mulembe nation, the Luyas. Madam Speaker, they can go and study what do they believe in. And when you look clearly at those value system of our communities, Madam Speaker, you will be surprised that there are more order. There was order age group. Madam Speaker, even in my culture, there is age sets. Madam Speaker, for example, me, I'm an age set of Kimnyike. The president is an age set of Kablelachek, which initiated some of us. There is my father age group is called, the name is disappearing, Kablelach. There is also the Kimnyike. So that age set ensure there is respect. And that is why whenever we engage, you cannot go beyond your elder in terms of the age set. And I think also the Mulembe nation, the Akikuyu, among other communities, even to the coastal communities, even northern part, Madam Speaker. So this issue of culture, we need also to recognize the role of cultural persons, the custodians. Madam Speaker, we struggle when was old men and women who are the custodian of culture. And I'm happy, I think Meru have a very elaborate Njurinjeke, the Kikuyu and Nyumba Itu. They have also a house of elders or house people who are custodians of the practitioner of the traditions. When you go to Western Mulembe Nation, they have also their leaders. When you go to, in fact, in Northern Kenya, it is interesting. They are the ones who decide who becomes a leader in that particular community. Even in my culture, there is Miot Council of Elders. Those Kalenjin, the law recognizes that they are called cultural practitioners. So that, Madam Speaker, we also, these people also, some of them are professional, some of them participate in circumcision, in rituals and many others, so that they can be recognized and be able to ensure the protection of manuscripts, buildings and architectural designs, products of archaeological excavation. There is a place in Nandi called Sheu, somewhere, Madam Speaker, in Nandi Hills. Madam Speaker, it is interesting that when you are gotten too old and you think death has forgotten you, when you are too old, you can't move, you can't eat, you no longer have teeth. We had a place in Nandi Hills called Shau. So when you think death has forgotten about you, you request to be taken and then be thrown over the cliff and then you die. Those are some of the places that you needed to protect for historical purposes. And we can, archaeological excavations, artistic and historical monuments, buildings. My only unnatural designs, my only problem I have in this country, Madam Speaker, have you noticed, everybody wants to bring down any old building, not knowing the value of that historical building. We need to ensure that we, like the archives. Archives, Madam Speaker, is a structural monument within Nairobi. I've seen there's I don't know whether it's a bad habit or something, but where Kenyans want to destroy something that belongs in the past, it can be part of our heritage. It can be part of cultural, historical site, Madam Speaker. So we need to preserve these buildings. And I want to go to Kakamega today, where Senator Boni Kalwale can go and see a house, how the Mulembe nation used to live in the 40s, in the 30s, even same to Kalenjin, to Kikuyus. This modernity, Madam Speaker, will make us lose our aspects of who we are. And I think, Madam Speaker, on the rare collections, we need also to ensure ethnological. I'm just rushing through because it's quite elaborate. You know, culture is elaborate, Madam Speaker. There is the issue of articles of furniture, musical instruments, like nyatiti, Madam Speaker, the ones we use to sing. There is the blowing of horn. I remember you have been a Secretary General of many political successful parties. And coincidentally, most of the political parties that you have been Secretary General have gone ahead to form government. You remember URP, we had a horn as a sign of the symbol of the political party. So it is very important, Madam Speaker, as I second on the issue of management of culture, with this ministry will develop, the gender ministry will develop national policy, promotion of diverse cultures, cultural heritage and cultural property, including protection, safeguarding, preservation, conservation, like even Kibalel Court auction, Madam Speaker. That Kibalel Court auction should be gazetted as something historical by the Kenya museums of Kenya. Should be able to do that, Madam Speaker. I know thank God we have Ministry of Gender, Social Services and Culture. Those are factored, Madam Speaker. Standards and regulation and cultural management of national, that is clause number 5, Madam Speaker, for members who are following. We need also to have a collection and study on how some of these issues can be done, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I agree, you and me as a senior lawyer, and I don't know when you'll be given to be the senior counsel. I don't know, you should by now be awarded to be the senior counsel. We need also to ensure that the supremacy of the Constitution, that if this bill does not excuse what we call repugnant to moral justice, like for example, FGM, the female genital mutilation, Madam Speaker, this issue of female genital mutilation, FGM, cannot be part of such a culture because they are repugnant, they undermine the human rights, they undermine the rule of law. So I want to bring an exception, Madam Speaker, that this bill has captured is that it will not recognize cultural value or cultural practice that is repugnant to moral justice. And I've used example like FGM, female genital mutilation, Madam Speaker, the issue of export and import of inventory cultural property. Madam Speaker, you remember, as I conclude, there was a time that when Koitalel Samoei was killed, you remember the British took the Koitalel Samoei regalia. It was after when President Kibaki came into power 2003 that the regalia and the artifacts of the late Koitalel Samoei came back, that those were brought back. So we need anything, any artifacts, any regalia that was illegally taken by the British government to the United Kingdom be returned back. Why would you go to London to go and look for artifacts that belong to some of the communities? We need to bring those so that we can preserve in museum part. And then finally, members, there is the issue of import and export of artifacts that belong to our cultures. And I'm happy the law has ensured that this cannot be done or transfer cultural property without the approval of the government. That is another exemption I wanted committees to do. There is the issue of research. The Cabinet Secretary must develop a database to ensure that we research extensively on the cultural issues. There is the issue of, Madam Speaker, the issue of licensing. And finally, the offenses, penalties. I think I'm happy that it is 1 million if you violate some of these, like fraud, like exporting, like transfer, like selling a cultural property. Madam Speaker, stealing of cultural property and any activity, the fine will be 1 million or 5 years in prison or both, which is very important. Using images without consent. We have seen people writing even books without the consent of who they are, Madam Speaker, and even the licensing, research, doing the research. We have seen documentaries in NATO Geo, National Geographic Television. I normally see them running stories about Samburu without even telling us whether they have permission to do research and broadcast and film some of those issues. So this has captured, Madam Speaker, in a nutshot. This culture bill is very important. It's part of the Constitution. It is recognized in the role of the Constitution in Article 1 and also in the 4th schedule that cultural practices is a devolved function. And in as much as it's a National Assembly bill, we are ready to pass, Madam Speaker, so that we can create a legal framework. And I'm happy, Madam Speaker, I hope during a report writing by Labour, they should invite different groups of Wazee from every community so that they can share. And I'm happy Senator Mundegi is in the House. He might also share with us the issue of Embu. But, Madam Speaker, when you will give Senator Boni Khalwale, can we allow him to give us 1 to 2 minutes demonstration on what he was doing and how to celebrate the heroes, the death in their community? Possible the Secretariat can provide him with a torch, then he can be able to demonstrate and show us what needs to be done. With those many remarks, Madam Speaker, I beg to second this culture bill, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Chiradigei. Honorable Senators, I propose the question that the Culture Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2024, be now read a second time. Honorable Senator, you can resume your seat. I am not sure we can grant that request of the torch being introduced into the Senate, as it could quickly turn into a weapon of serious destruction within Senate. So we might not have that. But let me now take this chance to give Senator Boni Khalwale to give his contribution on this bill.
Honorable Speaker, I take this to be a very big privilege that the records of Parliament, the Hansard, will show that when this bill was being enacted into law, I made a contribution because I believe in culture and I believe in the diversity of the cultures of the people of Kenya. And because of that belief, Madam Speaker, many times I disagree with fellow professional colleagues and people of letters on how they become experts of explaining the culture of other communities. You can see, Madam Speaker, for the 30 minutes that the Senator of Nandi has contributed, he has spent probably 1/3 of that time only for his culture. But the rest of the time, he has spent on the Kikuyu, he has spent on the Luhya, areas on which he is not an expert at all. You know, I cannot start by, first of all, by failing to make a personal disclosure. That as somebody who practices medicine and who understands circumcision of men, I take a lot of offense when I see people berate the Kuria, my cousins, the Kisi, my cousins, the Kikuyu, my distant cousins, and the Kamba, my distant cousins, for the practice of circumcision of their girls. We should be asking them, why and how do they do it? Why I take this offense is because, Honorable Speaker, if you came to Kakamega and told a Luhya man not to circumcise his son, he will tell you, take him. Then he is not my son. Have we really listened to the people who understand the culture of the circumcising communities of Kenya? Do we really know the prescribed method of that circumcision? We really must think about these things, because when we don't, we allow people who don't know us to define us. Imagine, Madam Speaker, you going to Bungoma and telling a Luhya father that his son is a homosexual and therefore he should be tolerant. You are saying this because of the many things you people call under this constitution of the rights of expression, the right of choice, the rights of blah, 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 blah. Madam Speaker, we have to be firm as Africans so that even if it is easy for you to fundraise for defending something that offends your community, you should be called to order through this law. We would like the people who fundraise for advocacy of practices that are foreign to our communities to exercise that advocacy outside our communities. Like somebody who wants to advocate, or to make advocacy for, they call it LPQTQX, something. People who want to do those kind of primitive things, they should never be allowed to do it in the Luo nation. It is completely foreign. Culture defines that it cannot be admissible. You cannot expect a boy who does bullfighting in Haega, who practices bullfighting in Malinya, who practices bullfighting in Isolio, who practices bullfighting in Mahira, in Malaba, who practices bullfighting in Indangalasia, in Butoto. You cannot manage to convince him that having never witnessed a bull climb a fellow bull, he can climb a fellow boy. But we force them, because we bring them to the universities and we keep them, and the children have grown away from home, they are confused, the parents don't understand culture very well, they are under pressure of the so-called the modern life, they feel if they talk about it, they are not modern parents, and so on. We need to make proper legislation, and we shall be coming in the third stage of the third reading of this bill with firm amendments to speak to those things until this House will either firmly pronounce itself in assent or in defeating. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Senator of Nandi for all the compliments he's given me. You never offended me in any way. You never offended the community in any way. It was positive. Let me tell you, our community has documented its culture through oral literature. Now we are attempting to put it on paper. We want to tell our children, this is how women give birth, and after giving birth, this is how they name their children. And giving birth, Madam Speaker, my mother was a traditional birth attendant. Part of the reason why our profession went in that direction. And she was very clear. When a woman was now finding it difficult to give birth, she has to refer that woman for cesarean section in hospital. She used to ask the girl, who is the father of this child? And when the girl would refuse to say, she asked, what is the name of the father? The moment the girl says, the father's name is so and so, the birth canal opens and the child is born. Because our culture is against single parents. Our culture demands that every Luo child must have a father. And it was at that spot, Madam Speaker, when children born within the family, offending our culture, which does not allow sex within related people who are related to each other, it would be found out. And the girl would then say, then there would be a special ceremony for that child. Then the child will be accommodated. In adult life, there are certain privileges that child will not attend or will attend with special restrictions. Up to and including, Madam Speaker, if a girl was born within the extended family, when the girl got married, her hut, where she would live with the husband, a pot would be placed on the roof to signal to whoever cares to know that this is a girl who was born under these circumstances. So if you want this curse to follow you in future, marry any offspring from that home. I mean, a beautiful culture. And when I look back, Madam Speaker, and I see the problem children of the so-called single mothers are going through because of the lack of the father figure, I say our ancestors understood science. Madam Speaker, the communities which are slowly starting to allow the so-called single mother, Madam Speaker, I know it offends you like me, they are now having serious challenges.
Senator Boni, when you are referring to the single mothers, it would be fair to refer to them as single mothers, not the so-called.
Oh, the so-called, sorry, I withdraw.
Yes.
I withdraw that word.
Let's
single
protect
mothers,
them because they are with us in the community.
Yes,
so we use dignified language for them.
Why I was saying so-called, permit me, is because it was with reference to the Leo community. It does not have single parents, either single father or single mother. You must say, I am...
What's your point of order, Senator Mudigi?
Madam Speaker, nataka nifahamishe Senator Karware, ni vizuri tuunge hii mbiru mkono kwa sababu itasaidia mtoto aidha ni wa single mother, ana wa single father, ama ni wazazi wote wawili, kwa sababu wakati huu juu ya ile mambo watoto wafunzwi, hata watoto wale wako na wazazi wawili ndio ambaya kuliko watoto wa single father and mother.
Senator Mudigi, that would have fallen better in a point of information. But you can proceed, Senator Boni Halwale.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Indeed, that's the information. And I know the information my distinguished senator from Embu is giving me is in the meaning of the Embu and Mbere community. It is not in the meaning of the Luo community. We don't have those things amongst the Luo at all. Madam Speaker, I want to support this bill very strongly because after birth, our culture then provides for how a child will then grow through teenage until they come of age enough to start their own families. They provide for how the boy will be circumcised, who will circumcise him, the circumstances. If he is circumcised in hospital, he is taken back home to be given an opportunity to receive the herbal treatment of children who are circumcised in hospital and missed the power of herbal medicine in a man becoming a man enough to be the head of a family. I want to support this bill very strongly because it is the same one that allows some of us to have more than one wife. I have seen certain communities, if you ask a guy, do you have a second wife? The guy says, no. And in practice, when I meet him, where we meet them, I see him with another lady and with a child. You ask me, he says, no, this is my kachungwa. In our place, we don't have kachungwas. We actually have the second and third wife. Madam Speaker, these people who are suffocating, they then create a lot of problems for nothing. Let me give you, for example, my late brother, may his soul rest in eternal peace, Henry Khalwal, had 2 wives. My immediate elder brother, flight captain Gaib Ashiono Khalwal, had 3 wives. And when they passed on, Madam Speaker, it is 10, 15 years later. Nobody has ever taken anybody to court because of their property. And both of them, Madam Speaker, did not leave a will. They did not even have an administrator. Culture just defined, because they are gone and I'm the only surviving uncle of these children, what I say passes for law. So I told this one, plot number so-and-so will be yours, this one will be yours, wife number 1, you'll get the car, wife number 2, you'll get the motorbike, and that's it. Because of the power of culture. This man, people waste in courts for 30 years because they are fighting over family land, can be very well sorted out through cultural practices, and I'm glad the Constitution is very clear. It says that cultural practices and provisions of the culture must be recognized when family property is being divided. This is something very positive, and because my brother, young Chimera from Kwale, would like to contribute, and I can see time has gone, I want to stop there and go and work on my amendments to make the bill even better. I support. Over to you, Chimera.
And thank you, Senator Boni. You do not have powers to assign Chimera an opportunity, Senator Chimera an opportunity to speak. But I now invite Senator Raphael Chimera to make his contribution to this bill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I listened to my good friend, he's like a father to me, Senator Boni Halwale from Kakamega, the bullfighter himself. And I didn't know this habit, the character of him having more than one wife is in the family, so to speak. Now, I'm afraid I will not be sitting next to him. I might end up suffering from that habitual deficiency, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise in support of this bill, being Bill number 12 of 2024 from the National Assembly. And let me begin by first appreciating and commending the National Assembly, most particularly the mover and the sponsor of this bill at the National Assembly level, Madam Speaker. To that much Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, to my brother, may history judge you fairly. This is a very important bill, and I am very proud, Madam Speaker, that I was alive and I was in the Senate when such a bill came to the floor of the House that basically seeks our support as legislators, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, if you look at a community known as the Maasai community, Madam Speaker, they are well known for their rich and very deep-rooted cultural practices, cultural beliefs, and traditions, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, every foreigner who seeks to come to this country, Madam Speaker, you'd realize the first port of call will be visiting the Maasai region. And I wish Senator Ledama Olekina was here from Narok, and my good friend Senator Ole Seki from Kajiado. I understand that senator is perhaps busy propagating some other form of politics out there. That's why he has no time to be here. But I know when he gets a chance, when the two of them get a chance, they will speak deeply about their culture and their community, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, any foreigner who gets to the country would want to visit the Maasai, not necessarily to see the Big Five under the Masai Mara Conservancy, but also to appreciate and interact with the Ma culture, Madam Speaker. So to speak, this culture has basically put the country on a global perspective, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, perhaps the mover of this bill here, Senator Cheriot, might say the Kalenjins as well have put this country on a global perspective because of their prowess in athletics. But this is culture. So he might not want to go along that with Madam Speaker. But Madam Speaker, what I'm saying is that this bill essentially seeks to speak to Article 11 of the Constitution, and more specifically, sub-Article 3A, that speaks on the compensation and royalties owing and due to communities who practice various forms of culture, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, sometimes when I come from a very hectic schedule in Kwale, I take time to interact with my voters at night in Diani, in places such as Tanduri, Kokobongo, Manyata, and Terminal 2, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, at night, when you're in those places that I've just mentioned, Madam Speaker, you will see young men and women dressed in particular attires, more specifically in the Maasai attire at night, purposely because Diani is a beach destination, Madam Speaker, just to attract the attention of the foreigners who are there. And when you further continue engaging with these young men and women who are dressed at night as Maasais, you would be shocked to find they are not even Maasais, Madam Speaker. Most of them are usually people from Murima, Madam Speaker. That speaks to the need to ensure that certain cultural beliefs have been placed in a way that they can receive commercial earnings, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, if you visit the great county of Kwale, where I come from, Madam Speaker, there's a small tribe in a place called Kilibasi. They call the Wata community, Madam Speaker. This is a community that is practicing very rich cultural traditions. They have very deep cultural dances. They have a lot of artifacts that speak to their culture, Madam Speaker. A lot of foreigners nowadays find their way to Kilibasi just to go and get to know this particular community and understand and appreciate the cultural practice that they do practice in Kinango, Madam Speaker. If you listen carefully to the Digo community in Kwale County that have for many years danced to Zigidigi, Mdundiko, and Sengenya dance, Madam Speaker, as well as the Duruma community with their Gozi dance from Vigurungani, Puma Ward in Kinango constituency, Madam Speaker, you realize there is now need to have and making sure that all these communities are able to benefit from these packages, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I am happy now for the first time we are working towards making sure there is a proper legal framework within which communities that practice their culture, that believe in their culture, that are out there showcasing their culture, Madam Speaker, are able to benefit in terms of receiving compensation and royalties from what they do on a daily-to-daily basis as part of promoting their culture. And I'm happy that we are not just speaking about policy and ministry directives, but a legal framework within which these communities are able to benefit from the practice of their culture, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, with those very many and few remarks, Madam Speaker, I wish to strongly support this bill, and I wish to urge my colleagues to equally weigh in and support this particular bill, and hopefully it becomes law so that our community are able to access this compensation and this material benefit so that people can for the first time enjoy their true identity and their true cultural heritage in this country. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Dan Manzo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm very pleased to contribute on this very, very important bill. In fact, I've waited for it for a long time. And the culture is actually in the Constitution, and Article 11. And I think there's a misprint. They have talked of 11.3a, but it should be 11.2a. And this is to promote all forms of national and cultural expression through literature, the arts, tradition, celebrations, science, communication, information, mass media, publications, libraries, and other cultural heritage. Madam Speaker, the cultural heritage of any nation is very important. When we went for the Olympics in China in 2008, the president of China then addressed all foreigners in Chinese. And you are asked to get somebody who is near you to interpret for you if you didn't follow the president's speech. And you notice that from China to Arabia, to Israel, to Europe, to America, there are different cultures everywhere. But there are communities who are very cultural. Like if you go to South Africa, you find the Zulu are very cultural and have never abandoned their culture. And the Swahili saying goes, mwachamila ni mtumwa. Therefore, this is very important. I come from the Kamba community, and they have Kamba customary law. They have, you know, almost every community have ways of dealing with many things. They have ways of dealing with marriage. There are cultural activities associated to it and law associated to marriage. Divorce, marriage and divorce. And divorce in Kamba culture, you know, you ordinarily, when you go to marry, you go with the 3 goats. One male, two male and 1 female. So that day you slaughter the male, so you leave a male and a female. And when you are asked in Kamba culture, when you want to divorce, the sort of goat you are supposed to return is impossible to find. Meaning in the Kamba culture, marriage is presumed to be permanent. And you'll take such trouble looking for this particular goat, maybe that we may give up at some point and make up with an estranged wife and the in-laws. Because even marriage is communal. It's like you belong to that particular clan you've been married to, and you know, the culture protects you. And when you look at that, Madam Speaker, when you're asked to look for a black goat with a white patch at the stomach, you may look for it for many years. And that's a culture which protects that community. There are many ways this culture, many artifacts with the Kamba culture, the way they did their guards, the way they did their traditional dances, the way there's so many things. And the protection of the property in a culture is important. The Maasai culture is most amazing. It's people feed on meat. A few days ago, we went to Kamwaro's home to make sure that to visit him, you know, on his day of inauguration as a politician. And, you know, Maasais eat meat, but the young men who came to dance there, they were not fat at all, because their culture allows them to take meat, but they have other things they boil. Maasais interact with the snakes as much as the Kamba do. But when Maasais get a snake bite, they have a way of treating it, which is amazing. Hardly does any Maasai person die of a snake bite. And this cultural thing has been prevented and has been kept alive and does exist. And therefore, this act is very important. And just as the Honorable Arwale has said, really I would have loved to contribute full time, but I can see my colleagues want it differently. But I think it is important on this particular one, because this is a law since 2013, should have been enacted a long time ago. And there are many cultures in the world. When you go to West Africa, you find a different culture. There were cultural practices. There was cultural religion. There were many, practices which kept the society together, kept the morals, together of many African communities. And in fact, when Congo was colonized, where most of my community originated from the Congo forest, and when you go to Congo, you find the actually part of Kamba community was left there. There are some who did not travel with the rest, and there are many languages in the Congo forest. In fact, also the Kikuyu community came from there. And you find that when the colonialists came to Congo, they said, King Leopold II said that the Africans were very honest. In African culture, you never stole, because you feared what will follow you if you stole, the evil spirits and things like that, and the misfortunes, and you will never rest till you return what you have stolen. In fact, hardly does a Mukamba steal your thing, because they don't know what treatment has been given to those things. At the moment you take them, the gods follow you and you will never rest, and therefore people don't steal. And the Congo, King Leopold too described the community that they are very honest. And therefore, as part of colonization, they came up with a strategy to corrupt.
Yeah. What's your point of order, Senator John Derrida?
Bispika, nangoja ni kusikia kwa sababu nimesikia akisema kuhusu mbuzi ambao wameibiwa na vile ambavyo angerudishwa. Ningetaka kujua kwa sababu kuna kisiwa ya kwamba kuna jambo huwa nasikia kutoka kwa Kamba, pengine ataweza kutuelezea mambo ya kuhusu Kamute na Kibeti Dikaeka. Sijui inamaanisha nini pengine.
There are a point of information.
Point of clarification, Madam Chair.
Well, let me say that the Kamba culture had its own way of dealing with the evil people. You know, they had a way of dealing with somebody. If you had killed somebody, you would be excommunicated. And that's very common in many African cultures. And you may never come back, actually, or sit with serious men. And some of these cultures, you find them when you read, things fall apart. When it comes to, there are quite many practices which are feared. Like, you never stole somebody's wife, because there is a likelihood of getting stuck and till the owner comes. And I've never verified that, but I have heard it has happened even in modern times. And you've got to pay a lot of money to be unlocked. So there were those many cultures. I don't know whether that's what you commonly call a kamuti or something. The kamuti thing is a way of prevention. It's something which is feared, that somebody has protected their things. They protect their wives, they protect their animals, they protect anything you take from that home. And in fact, they will call somebody who will come and make a threat and say, we are giving you 2 days to return what you have stolen, otherwise you will start eating grass. And it has happened, people who have started eating grass. Then I'll elaborate next time.
Senator Manzo, you will have a balance of 11 minutes when we resume this debate, this very interesting debate on the culture. Honorable Senators, it is now 6:30 p.m., time to adjourn the Senate. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until tomorrow, Thursday, 26th February 2026 at 2:30 p.m. Thank you.